Do we know where Moses is buried? No, the Bible tells us that God took him and buried him in an unknown place that no one has ever found. And the reason for that is probably because God didn't want it to become a place where people would go to honor Moses. Moses served faithfully and he led the children of Israel. And all of these things are wonderful and the stories are in the Bible, but he didn't want it to become like a place to go and worship, something like that. Now, I've just returned from a pilgrimage with some of the people here at Victory to Germany, and we were tracing the lives of Martin Luther and Johann Sebastian Bach. And yes, of course, we wanted to see where were they born, where did they serve, what did they do, and where did they die. Now, in the case of Johann Sebastian Bach, he's been moved 3 times because first he was in a cemetery and then the cemetery had to be moved because the city changed, and then he was put in a church and then that church was bombed and now he's in a different church. And interesting that they keep track of that all of this time. And this is Bach. This isn't even Moses who led the children of Israel out of slavery in Egypt to the promised land. So imagine how people would have wanted to honor his burial place. So much so with Bach that they even have in the museum some of the splinters from his coffin and a handle and things so that people can see just these little earthly things, fragments that truly mean nothing about the genius of the man that we're honoring. But as humans, we like to have something tangible sometime. Anyhow, God decided he did not want that to happen for Moses. And even though he didn't get to go to the promised land, he led him to a mountain where he was able to see. And the Bible tells us that Moses was, even though he was 120 years old, he was strong enough to climb a mountain and his eyes were still strong. He was able to see that promised land where he had spent his entire life leading the people to. So the hymn that I've selected for our opening hymn this weekend is called, "O Jesus, I Have Promised." And I think that it was definitely true of Moses, that even though he struggled, obviously he was human. He had some anger issues, maybe you might say, but through it all, he continued to follow the leading of God. And so this hymn seemed appropriate. This hymn, "O Jesus, I Have Promised." Now, originally, it was titled "A Hymn for the Newly Confirmed," and it was written for the confirmation of the 3 children of the British minister John Bode. And then it became so widely used that finally the bishop said, "No more, please stop singing this hymn for confirmations. We don't want to hear it anymore." But it still is in a lot of hymnals today and is one that we love, and the words are just really great. Now, James Bode was really staunch supporter of his Christian faith. He liked to share it. He was a writer, he was a hymn composer and author, and obviously he was trying to have his children follow in that footsteps. And he was invited to share some lectures in Oxford, and they were published under this title: "The Absence of Precision in the Formularies of the Church of England, Scriptural and Favorable to a State of Probation." Now, I just listed that because it's a very long title, and I think if Pastor Todd said, "This is going to be the title of my sermon today," we would immediately maybe glaze over before he even started preaching. But such as it was, James Bode, very respected in England and, of course, from there around the world, in a hymn that we've all grown to love. Now, when he originally wrote it, there were 6 stanzas, and usually in most modern hymnals now we only have 4 verses. So I'm going to read you the first verse, which you probably know, and then I'm going to read you one of the stanzas that's been omitted just because I think it fits so well as we talk about following the footsteps and following Jesus. Verse 1. "O Jesus, I have promised to serve thee to the end. Be thou forever near me, my master and my friend. I shall not fear the battle if thou art by my side, nor wander from the pathway if thou wilt be my guide." And then here's a verse that's been omitted. "O let me see thy footmarks, and in them plant mine own. My hope to follow duly is in thy strength alone. O guide me, call me, draw me, uphold me to the end, and then in heaven receive me, my Savior and my friend." Aren't those beautiful words? And I think that's all our hope and our prayer, that we will follow faithfully to the end. I'm going to play an arrangement of it for you by William McNair. The hymn tune is actually called Munich because it's attributed to Mendelssohn. And so there's another little tie-in to some of the German influence that I've had in the last few weeks. So I hope you enjoy this arrangement. There's kind of in the pedal, just this steady beat kind of plodding as we think about those final days, that last climb, and making it faithfully to the end. I hope you enjoy.